All right. It shows that I am live. I will assume you guys can hear me. Let me just double check, make sure everything's going on my end, let people filter in here. And we got some fun stuff to talk about. Let's see here. YouTube. We're streaming live right now on YouTube and Rumble simultaneously. If you're watching me on YouTube, I highly recommend that you follow me on Rumble. It's a fantastic platform. For example, yesterday's video that I uploaded involving Baalbek has more views on Rumble than it does on YouTube, despite the fact that my following on YouTube is like 15 times larger. Tell me the algorithm isn't suppressing my stuff, but whatever, it's all good. So let's start off talking about the Olympics. That was the most exquisite ceremony of the opening ceremony of the Olympics I've ever seen. It was outstanding. It was full and rich of French tradition and history. It was thought-provoking. I learned a million things. Oh, and it just brought everyone together. It just finally, humanity is uniting. I thought things were as divided as ever until this opening ceremony happened. And wow, everything, the world's healed. Everything's fine. And I've never been more excited to see the Olympics in my life. Can you guys believe this? Yeah, that was sarcasm, if you couldn't tell. I've never seen anything so bad in my life. That was the worst opening ceremony of the Olympics in history. It doesn't get worse than that. It was, okay, there's a few things to say here. Besides the fact that this takes place in France, in Paris, a country and in a city that is so rich in history. Usually, the opening ceremonies of Olympics are showcasing that. Like I saw a clip going around of the 2008 Beijing Olympics where they had 2008 drummers going simultaneously all at once. You should dig up that clip. It's awe-inspiring. It was magnificent. And then you see this. What was all this stuff they threw in there? It's like they're throwing in doomsday stuff with the Pale Rider, like you saw in the thumbnail of this live stream, which is from Revelations, out of the Bible. The last of the trumpets. And I don't know if you saw this, that little few second clip showing the Statue of Liberty as like a hot air balloon flew by it. If you look closely, like you probably wouldn't have seen this unless you're on like Twitter or X, but it showed a bunch of like gunshots and explosive wounds to the Statue of Liberty. Why on earth would they throw that in there? Like, put the drag queen, all this debauchery that they were showcasing in there, like to the side for a second and be like, why would they go out of their way to show the Statue of Liberty in destruction? That right there tells me, I don't even know where to go with that. I feel like they're rubbing it in our faces that like the end is near. I'm an optimist though. I think that humanity will survive, but it's like, what are they doing? And so anyway, so on this live stream, we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about my recent video in Baalbek, which many of you may have not seen. It doesn't have as many views as I was anticipating. But you know what? Either the algorithm didn't like it, or realistically, it's almost hard to pay attention to the mysteries of lost ancient human civilizations when the world is getting so crazy. So I'm going to cater my next video probably around that. But yeah, so there were some super chats here. I'm going to read off. I'm going to see let's see how this live stream is going to make sure I'm good on YouTube and looks like I am. It's always good to check this, guys. I do this stuff on my own. So it's very important for me like to take a second to double check to make sure, I'm not like screwing myself up and talking to myself alone in this room. Yeah, so definitely leave questions and comments in this live stream. I'm going to try to read as many of them as possible. I'll probably keep this to an hour. But I mean, honestly, I want to see some comments on what you guys think about this ceremony. Like, that was so over the top. It's like they're rubbing their satanic, demonic death ritual in our faces. That's what that was. Nothing about that is on the up and up. Let me just say, for all the woke crazies out there, hey, if you want to dress up and transition and do whatever you want to do, I support you. Like, don't put that shit on kids. That's number one. But like, I'm all about freedom. So like, you be you. but that had absolutely no place in an Olympic ceremony. Imagine just how many children, millions of children from around the world, hundreds of countries that were watching that for the first time. I remember growing up and seeing Muhammad Ali light the Olympic torch in Atlanta. I remember seeing, it may have not been Michael Jackson. Um, I don't know. I have some early memories of some like pretty. He may have been, that may have been at the World Cup or something for all I know. But whatever. My point is that there's been some amazing opening ceremonies, and it's awe-inspiring. Like, it gets you excited for the Olympics. Now, what they're doing is they're conditioning the younger generation to like thinking that this is the norm. What they just witnessed was so unspectacular in a million ways. This is pretend they didn't throw in all the drag queen stuff. Remove all the and the guy that had his nutsack hanging out of his pants. Did you see this? Been confirmed. Saw it with my own eyes. The guy that was rubbing up on a kid during the opening ceremony had his half his nutsack hanging out of his underwear. This tarnished the Olympics. I'm not even going to watch it, which I feel bad about because if you got to have heartfelt sorrow for the Olympians themselves. Imagine being these athletes that are at the highest level in the world, and then now having a couple billion people being so pissed off about this opening ceremony that nobody wants to watch it. Like, it's going viral online. The and the proof is in the pudding because the people that have the copyright to the opening ceremony did these mass flags through DMCA to have like all social media wipe them out, even a bunch of copyright strikes all the way around, and they even deleted the opening ceremony off their own YouTube page. That right there shows guilt. Otherwise they'd be standing by their decision. They'd be like, "No, this is great." But that's not what they're acting like at all. There was some super chats. He since went away. People talking about Baalbek, but we're going to circle back around to that. Let me see here. What do you guys? I want to see like a question that stands out right now involving what I'm talking about. And as people filter in, I'll go ahead and read off my sponsor reads here in a second because I want to knock that out that way because that's a lot of people's least favorite part, right? But I got to do it. I have some awesome brands that are supporting me, and I believe in their product. So let me knock that out right now, and then I can get on my soapbox and really get after it on all the other topics I want to talk about. So hold on one second. So right here, the sponsor of this video is the Wellness Company. There's two different products that I'm marketing for them on this video today, which is the Contagion Kit and the Spike Detox Trio. Let me first talk about the Contagion Kit. This company, the Wellness Company, allows you to preemptively obtain prescription drugs, including antibiotics, such as amoxicillin, and drugs such as hydrochloroquine, Tamiflu, ivermectin, many of which are hard to come by. And these kits will cost you less than it costs for most doctor visits. These kits are only available in the United States. However, everyone that has the ability to obtain one should have at least one of these kits on hand. It cannot be overstated that if crap hits the fan, which I am inclined to think that it might, there could be a grid down scenario, there could be a collapse in the supply chain. If any of these events happen, it could be unbelievably important to have prescription drugs on hand, including antibiotics. And go to www.twc.health, or excuse me, twc.health/Bright Insight and use promo code Bright Insight. The link is in the description to receive $30 off this kit today, plus free shipping. And the second product, which give me half a second here to transition. Hold on here. Present. Hold on. Everyone's watching. Don't screw this up. Okay. The Spike Detox Trio from the Wellness Company. Many people, and this is a topic that is taboo. A lot of people don't want to talk about it, but it's extremely important to have the conversation, which is that a lot of people are having adverse side effects to so-called long COVID, but more so various side effects related to the vaccine. And the doctors over at the Wellness Company have accumulated a special formula of vitamins and supplements. It's not even a drug that can reduce the spike detox or spike proteins that are in your bloodstream that are causing so much issues. It has been researched to block and dissolve the COVID spike proteins from your bloodstream, and the doctors at the Wellness Company provide the answers and hope for a revolutionary supplement called the Base Spike Detox Trio. Hundreds of people, vaccinated or not, have reported better mental clarity and increased energy levels after taking spike support daily. This could be the key to getting back to that pre-COVID feeling. Head over to www.twc.health/Bright Insight and use promo code Bright Insight to to save 10% at checkout at the wellness company. Guys, I can't recommend them enough. I get lots of feedback. People don't like me doing ad reads and all that stuff. And people have just what I just mentioned gets people all crazy. But I recommend them, guys. These products are legit. They support me and I support them. And honestly, you should take a moment to consider ascertaining those products. And if they're not for you, perhaps they are for a friend or a loved one. Now, that being said, back to the live stream and all the debauchery of the world. It's really hard. Like, so here I am making this video on Baalbek, which I legit think is the most profound example of tangible evidence of a lost, ancient, advanced civilization, if there ever was one. Yes, I think the Great Pyramid of Giza is advanced technology and was created by people that had it. Yes, I think various caves and stonework in India are also examples. Same thing within South America, Machu Picchu, Sacsayhuaman, in Bolivia at Pumapunku, and other sites around the world. Those are all examples as well. But what's special about Baalbek is that the historians want it to be the Romans, despite a complete and total lack of evidence that supports it. And I mean, you have to ask yourselves, isn't it not bizarre that the Romans that were renowned for documenting everything, they have absolutely no explanation or documentation for who created Baalbek, how, or when. And on top of it, there are three components of Baalbek that are different from any other site around the world. One of which is that they have the largest quarried stones in all of human history. Yes, there's a site in China, which is debatable. I'm not 100% convinced. I have friends that have been, such as Mike Collins, Wandering Wolf. I love him. He saw it with his own eyes and is certain that that was a quarried stone, which is significantly different than Baalbek. So that may be the case. But going back to Baalbek, if nothing else, it is the largest stones ever moved and lifted and stacked in all of human history. The three 900-ton trilithon stones. And it also has the largest stone columns in all of classical history. And everything about that site exceeds anything you find in ancient Rome itself. For example, as I mentioned in my video, if you look at the Colosseum, as impressive as it is, and in fact, it's magnificent. It's a marvel of engineering, let's be honest. But the largest stones are only a couple tons. Even the largest stone in all of ancient Rome is a part of the capital block of Trajan's column, which is 53 tons, which means that over at Baalbek, you have 900-ton stones, or let's go by metric, 53 metric tons for the capital block, 800 metric tons for each of the three trilithon stones. That means that those are over 10 times heavier. And they chose to do that 1,500 miles from Rome and not document anything about it. Nah, that doesn't add up to me. I don't buy it. And not to mention, when you look in the nuanced details, I hope you watched my last video where I gave a shout out to Dan Richards of the Debunking YouTube channel, where he brought to my attention that not only did the Romans or whoever built Baalbek not use the Roman foot measurement, which is a profound piece of evidence that suggests that it wasn't built it. He did also mention there were other sites that the Romans have constructed that didn't use the Roman foot. Okay, so it's not 100% smoking gun. But more so than that, people have compared the movement of the Thunderstone, which started off as 1,500 tons. This was commissioned by Catherine the Great of Russia in the late 1700s. And they moved it over a couple miles, and it took 9 months of 400 people. And people have used that as an example to say, wait a second, if they could do this in the late 1700s, sure, the Romans could do something similar, right? Well, that project would not have even been possible if it wasn't for the invention of the screw jack, which I showcased in my last video, which the Romans did not have. It wasn't invented until 1,000+ years later. That is the unbelievably profound detail, because the Thunderstone would never have been achieved in itself if it wasn't for the screw jack, because they never would have been able to put it onto the iron rails that they moved it along. And on top of it, the Romans, although they were a sophisticated civilization, they were Iron Age, they did not have anywhere near the level of advanced metallurgy that they had in the late 1700s. This is a documented fact. The type of iron that they had was inferior compared to what happened 1,500+ years later. And that metal would never have stood up with 1,500 tons on top of it. Another detail that I enjoyed showcasing, and this is going to open up a whole rabbit hole for future videos, even on the Egyptians, which is that all these archaeologists they say that surely they would have rolled these super heavy stones on tree logs. And in Egypt, they say that they would have imported Lebanon cedar because lest us forget that the Egypt itself didn't have a whole lot of trees. Palm trees, date trees. You can't those that wood isn't used for literally anything. So they say, well, they probably would have brought in wood from Lebanon. So I nerded out hard and I went down the rabbit hole. I'm like, well, how hard is this wood? And it turns out it's one of the softest woods on earth. There's, we've talked a lot about the Mohs scale of hardness for measuring the hardness of stone, which has, of course, been a case in point for arguing that no, copper chisels and hammer and saws did not cut and carve all the impressive granite work in Egypt. So I'm like, is there a similar scale that measures the hardness of wood? And it turns out it's something called the Jenka scale. And I start looking into the details, and Lebanon cedar is among some of the softest wood out there, literally at the bottom. You wouldn't even use it for flooring in your own house. It would be destroyed instantly. Your couch would smush it. Walking on it with heels would smush it. It's garbage. So I'm like, are we going to pretend that they rolled stones that weighed over 1,750,000 pounds, almost 2 million pounds, and they're going to roll that on that type of wood? And then they tried to say that, like, okay, well, the Ramesseum statue in Egypt, which is 1,000 metric tons, well, they would have had to roll that on cedar wood, logs. They would have imported it from Lebanon because this was an important undertaking. This is an important project. Nah, I'm not buying that at all. So it's all in the little details, guys. Let me go now to the chat. I want to read some comments. I want to know what people are saying. I want to know what people are thinking. Don't forget to smash the like button. We got a good crowd on here on YouTube. Let me see what the crowd's looking like on Rumble. And show me some comments and some questions. Honestly, I want to read a lot of people here. All right, Vudin just says he has an AK-47 on his shirt. No, that's a T-Rex, my friends. That is a pink T-Rex. It's meant to intimidate you guys, to distract you guys from, see, someone sees it there. Yeah, it's dinosaurs. That's right. I thought this would be a fitting shirt for today. All right, we got a super chat on Rumble from Keith Mabe. Love you, Keith. I believe we follow each other on Twitter. All right, so talking about the Olympic ceremony. It was an occult ritual to usher in the age of the next Antichrist. Keep in mind that these opening ceremonies go through multiple layers of approval. No surprises other than global audience. Thank you. Yes, I do believe that it was a ritual, an occult ritual. And a lot of people are blaming the guy that was the designer of the ceremony. I'm like, he doesn't have a say in what's shown there. Yeah, he's the designer, but he is an approval process. No way he was the final say in that. Not for a second. That went high up. That raises questions. Who on earth would have thought that would have jibed, that was appropriate? Unless they just want to rub it in everyone's faces. Like, they literally mocked the Last Supper, which is insulting to like 3 billion Christians around the world. In fact, everything about that ceremony should be insulting to any religious person on earth, whether they're, of Islam, Judaism, Hindu, Buddhism. I got a itchy throat here. Everything about that was anti-God. And why would you do that when you're at the Olympics, when you have a 90 or 95% of the world's population that are believers? No, I cannot believe that that's what they chose. It's unbelievable. All right, how do I show the super chat here? Let's see here. Ask good questions, because I am monitoring the chat now, and I will highlight it to show it on screen. Let's see here. I see people talking about Trump. Yeah, Trump 2024. I'm all about it. Guys, he's the only choice. Speaking of which, do you like how they are now propping up Kamala Harris? And by the way, are you seeing these details about Joe Biden? Is that really him? There's a lot of conspiracies going around involving that it's somebody else wearing a mask, because it's been known that since in the early 1990s, the CIA had developed masks that were so profoundly advanced that they could fool people sitting right in front of them having a conversation to look completely different than what you would imagine. And that was the early 1990s, 30 plus years ago. So a lot of people are saying that that's not even Joe Biden, because if you look at his recent appearances, whoever that gentleman is looks like he's 6 to 8 inches taller. Like, I know that sounds insane. If somebody's hearing this for the first time saying like, what's Jimmy saying? He's saying that Joe Biden is not Joe Biden. He's wearing a mask. That sounds like the most insane thing I've ever heard, until you look into the details. It's unbelievable, the possibilities that go on with that. Yeah, see, Trim saying here, he is 6 inches taller. Like, you can literally look at images of him next to Israel Prime Minister Netanyahu from a couple years ago till just yesterday, and it is unbelievably different. Let's see here. How do I put this on screen? Let me show this here. Oops. Hold on here. Hold on. Thing reply. How do you show this on the damn screen? I've done this before. All right. Well, James F. said, my super chat was about how Baalbek is closer to Mount Hermon mentioned in the book of Enoch. Local contacts say there's more stones buried. Thank you. I saw this earlier, and thank you for saying it again. I wish I could send you the $5 back. Let me know your Venmo. So, guys, Baalbek goes way beyond. To those who saw my video and watched at the tail end of it, I was talking about the name Baal, which short for Baalbek was Lord Baal, mentioned in the Bible numerous times, said to be a demon or the devil itself. And that's where legends say that on Mount Hermon, which is in the Lebanon mountains, 50 miles away from Baalbek, that the devil or Baal had landed on. And there's other anomalies about Mount Lebanon as well, which is the fact that, so those cedar trees I just mentioned, the name of the forest is Cedar of the Gods, which is really interesting, because in my mind, it makes me think that, okay, that name came from somewhere. Why did they call that forest being related to the gods when it's surrounding the site that I consider to be one of the most impressive achievements in the history of mankind, at least of the ancient world? And I almost think that it goes from like myth to legend, where thousands of years ago, people that were unbelievably sophisticated, that others would look at as gods, or at least would be carried down as legends of which, and they happen to name those trees after them. And the site itself being named after deities. I find that to be extremely interesting. You know, when I made that video, and again, anyone here that's watching this that did not see my prior video on Baalbek from yesterday, go watch it. It's 22 minutes long. But the pictures, and I said it like 5 times in the video, I cannot begin to overemphasize just how distorted those pictures are, because you have to take all of them on ultra-wide camera lens, because you can only stand so far back from it in order to get the full picture. But when you're on ultra-wide lens, it distorts it. It makes it look smaller than it actually is. What your eyes witness in person is insane. My jaw was dropped half the time. When you're standing in front of these stones that's 14 feet tall, such as the stone of the pregnant woman that's quarried there, or even the Forgotten Stone, which is 18 feet tall. I wish I got a picture of me standing next to it, but I was too afraid to climb down it because we were going to be traveling that night. And I'm like, I can't afford to get injured in another country right now. And I was wearing boots. But what you see in person is insane. I'm like, this is so stupid big, and stupid is I use that as endearment. It's like they could have made it half the size and it still would have blown my mind. Oh my goodness. I wish, and I'll also say this. I had this calling to go to Baalbek. It was literally on my bucket list. And if it wasn't, and I'm not trying to do the name dropping thing, because I really don't like when people do it. It just sounds so lame. It's so douchey. But if it wasn't for George St. Pierre, you know, the GOAT, legendary UFC fighter, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have been on that trip. And what's so spectacular about it is that I remember thinking before I went out there, I had this feeling, because the world's getting crazier. And I remember thinking to myself that if I don't go now, it could be years before I could get out there, or if ever. And we were out there on September 7th, which is 1 month to the day that Hamas had allegedly invaded Israel. I say allegedly because I think there are mercenaries, and I think there's more to the story. But that's a whole other rabbit hole to go down. But 1 month to the day. And if I hadn't got out there, that video wouldn't have been possible. And that's something I'll remember the rest of my life. And a lot of people ask me, like, what's George St. Pierre like? Because we traveled together for 5 days. And I have to tell you, he's exactly as you would imagine. Just as chill and sweet, and the exact guy you ever saw on camera is the exact same person that in reality. So I was blown away by that, and we really hit it off. And I'll give a shout out to Dory, who lives in Beirut, who toured us around, who was a relative of the gentleman Pierre, not George St. Pierre, but his friend that went with him was named Pierre. And so we had the sweet hookup. Like, we were able to travel there safe. We brought an AK-47 and a pistol, by the way. But you need to understand that Baalbek is in Hezbollah territory. You literally go through several military checkpoints where men in uniforms with AKs, Hezbollah, is monitoring the entire region. It's theirs. It's their government. So that was a little interesting traveling through, but it was all good. When you're with the right people, no big deal. So I cannot begin to tell you just how thrilled I was about that. All right, what are people saying in the comments? I want to read some stuff here. Let's see here. What are people saying over here on Rumble? What are people here saying on YouTube? Let's see. Yeah, I don't trust those governments either. You have to be awesome. Let's see. We got a great crowd here on Rumble. We got a great crowd here on YouTube. I want to talk more about these Olympics, though. Like, I still can't get it out of my head that they would go out of their way to show the Statue of Liberty full of like bullet holes and like explosive wounds, and then that the rider on a pale horse. That's the last trumpet in Revelations, guys. And after that comes all the famine and the death and the war. I just feel like they're rubbing something in our faces, that they know something's coming. Yes, I'm a conspiracy theorist. Yes, I'm a doomsday guy. But like throughout human history, things have gone through cycles. For example, approximately every 250 years is the length of time, the maximum length of time that a civilization lasts before it starts to fall apart. The United States is at like what, 247 or 248 years, like this year. That's interesting. But you just see all the chaos in the world. It just seems like something's coming. And I don't want to be the guy that makes everyone be in like a negative mindset, but like you need to be a prepper. And that's the same thing going back to the wellness company that I just shared. You know how unbelievably important it would be to have antibiotics on hand if something happened? I think everyone should be stockpiling water and food. A lot of people just focus on food and guns and ammo. Yes, on all those. But you need to think about water. So I live in the Phoenix area, and it's the middle of the summer here. And if the grid goes down, and I keep bringing up the grid, people who've seen my prior live streams and videos, this is something I talk about a lot because I think it's the card to play by evil people. If they want to bring down the United States, it's not going to be an invasion. If the United States couldn't take over Vietnam, Iraq, or Afghanistan, Russia couldn't take over Afghanistan either. Nobody has a chance. No foreign military has a chance of taking over the United States. Yeah, they could blow us away. They could destroy our infrastructure and destroy us, but like for how many hundreds of millions of people are and more than a few 100 million guns, you're just not going to be able to pull it off. It's just not going to happen unless you get us to destroy ourselves in the process. Turn off the lights. And if you turn off the lights, the grid goes down. That brings me back to the water because your city water pumps will stop pumping. The sanitizing of the water will cease, and millions will succumb to waterborne illnesses. It's no joke. So I think everyone should have at least 100 days of water on hand. Now, if you live in an area that rain is not, it rains in abundance, it's not an issue. Because like out here in Arizona, in the Phoenix area, you'll go 100 days without rain. So if you're in an area that rains a lot, if nothing else, have water barrels. And you can set up tarps with rope and poles that can filter rainwater into them to keep them filling up. That's things like that. Now, I got a super chat here from Metal Whale. You think the WF was sending a message with the Olympics? That's a great question. I haven't dug into this yet. The WF has immersed themselves in everything. They've infiltrated government cabinets around the world, the media, corporations, archaeological sites. Don't get me down that rabbit hole again. If anyone's watching this that hasn't seen my video on Gunung Padang and Göbekli Tepe, it is undeniable that powerful members of the World Economic Forum have infiltrated decision-making power of those sites. I get pushback online. People say they don't control those sites. I'm like, guys, the WEF doesn't control anything. It's their members that do. That's all they are, is a organization that it's made up of thousands and thousands of members. Many of them have significant power throughout the world. So I look at Ganang Padang and how the minister of the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research, and Technology, whatever it is a longtime member of the World Economic Forum and is one of their global shapers. And he's the guy that has the decision-making power to excavate the site, yet they're not excavating the site, despite the fact that 10 years ago, they were saying that they were willing to allocate unlimited funding and resources to do so, and then something changed. He comes in there 5 years ago, and all of a sudden that stops. Connect the dots. Henry Ivan, thank you for the super chat. I read Nimrod traveled to Baalbek post-flood, and maybe older, maybe the place where Enoch talked with the fathers of the giants and angels. Thank you for that comment, because that goes to a tradition, and I read this in my video. It's straight out of Penn Museum, where they talk about how the tradition of Baalbek states that it was created by giants. What an interesting thing to throw in there. Now, it's not unreasonable to suggest that ancients would have saw that and be like, it had to have been giants that have made it. I'm on the fence with giants. Like, I need to see a skeleton. And I know people will say, oh, the Smithsonian's hiding them. I need to see something. It is possible that they were referring to giants of mind, and the word giants was lost through translation. I'm open-minded about giants. It's very detailed in numerous different cultures and religious texts around the world that there were giants that inhabited the earth. Some people say, well, maybe they're talking about dinosaurs, and people are like, well, we're alive at the time of dinosaurs or not. It goes, if nothing else, what I do believe is that there was advanced beings here, human. It's not to say it wasn't aliens. That's possible too. I can't stand when people laugh off the alien thing. It is totally possible that we were created by advanced beings from another solar system that came here, did crazy stuff, and bounced. That is totally possible. Let's see here. I want to make this live stream about reading some more comments. Let's see here. Okay, so someone I can't. Furo Surofishu said giants couldn't carry quarry blocks over mountains. I think that's a fair point. And that's another thing going back to my video, which is that all the 200 rose granite columns that are at Baalbek came from the Aswan quarry in Egypt, 700 miles away as the bird flies. And every single one of them would have had been transported over the Lebanon mountains. There's no way around it. Baalbek's in the Lebanon mountains. It's in like a valley kind of once you get over it, but it's at like 3,800 feet in elevation. And to go over the Lebanon mountains, it's an average of 8,200 feet in elevation, 2,500 meters, something like that. I was surprised because when we drove there, we had to go through them, and I didn't understand ahead of time that we're going to be driving through a vast mountain chain. And there's ski resorts up there. It's unbelievable. Thank you so much, Haymaker Bricks. Let's see here. I want to find a good comment and showcase it. Forgive me while I drink some grape juice. A nice Cabernet of grape juice. Come on, guys. Ask me a good question here. I'm seeing tons of comments. People talking about the Nephilim. People talking about proof of giants everywhere. Guys, I will not rule. I will not rule it out. Let's see. God, we got a great crowd here on YouTube. We got a great crowd on Rumble. All right, so Goat Cheese Millennial said, I think Olympics are just a dry run for how they are going to lock things down for real next time. Yeah, it's possible, guys. I am convinced that there's something that's going to happen between now and the election. Here's my big prediction. I do not think that Kamala Harris is the true person that's running for president. Yes, she is. She's, nominated. But here's some things you need to know. Nothing is for certain until they have the Democrat National Convention, which is in late August, like August 18th through the 22nd or something like that. They could give her all the delegates and nominate her then, but something could happen between now and then that prevents that. She could choose to step down. I don't think that's going to be the case. But here's my big conspiracy, which is that sometime between the DNC and the election, so between late August and early November, something will happen and she will step aside or something because she can't win. She has absolutely no chance of defeating Donald J. Trump. She has less of a chance than Biden probably, or at least comparatively. And they have no chance. And you can tell, like, we could tell for a million reasons, but like even with these polling, they're trying to make it look like it's pretty close, even though it's not. It's obviously not. Like anyone with a brain would know that like she has absolutely no chance. So they know that, and because I think that they stole 2020, which would mean that if that's the case, they would have to do it again this year because they have to steal it forever. Otherwise, they'll get caught afterwards. Even Obama knows she can't win, and I think he's the one pulling the strings. It tells me that they have something, a curveball up their sleeve. That's why I think that there's something coming. Whether it's World War III or whatever, some sort of invasion. Like now would be the time for China to go invade Taiwan. I'm not saying that would stop our elections, but a terrorist attack, like what's going on with these 20 million people that have come across the border, many of which have been proven to be within terrorist cells? When's that going to come to head? All these young fighting age men without families? What's that about? Guys, something's coming. All right. Edward said Biden will resign before the election and Kamala will pull something big to pull the coverage from Trump. I agree. I think so. Yeah, I think she'll be the next president in that Biden will step down over the next number of months. She'll briefly be president, and I think she'll choose not to run for re-election. Maybe that's the card they play. I don't know. This is all conjecture. Yeah, who's running the government? Great question. Who just said that? I can't tell. It ain't Biden. And anyone with a brain would know that it hasn't been him over the last few years. But now more than ever, it's readily apparent to anyone with eyes to see that it's not him. So it's like, what's happening here? All right, finally, I can figure out how to show things here. What do you think of the YouTube video from Forgotten Technology by Mestre Pietro? Actually, I haven't seen it. I have not seen it. I'll have to check that out. Someone said, oh, good. Here we go. Jimmy, how come you talk about these buried structures, but the Bosnian pyramids don't give much thought? Why not go there and see for yourself and take a tour? It's pricey to go there. Okay, so here's the thing, brother. I don't think the Bosnian pyramids are actually pyramids. People have gone there and we're like, nah, it's not it. I'm not saying it's not something ancient. That's possible. I don't doubt that. But there's people that have said that there's been some fuckery there, that the people running the site have tried to make it look like it was something that it wasn't. That's what I've heard. Again, I haven't been there. Maybe that's a site I should go to. Bosnia would be fun. It's beautiful. But the reason why I don't talk about it is because it's not my... I don't know for a fact what it is and what it isn't. So I don't want to be the guy out there debunking theories. I have people debunking me left and right. People that don't even know what they're talking about try to debunk me. And it's not to say I'm right about everything, because I'm not. But like, I don't like to be the debunking guy. To me, it's just unbecoming. I'm like, I need to be focusing on proving the things that I believe to be true, focus all my attention on that. And I don't like to cast shade on others. It's just not my style. But if you want to know what I really think, I'm not convinced that it's, a site. All right. Kami Safari 1979, thank you for the super chat, said, your thoughts on the ceremony mocking the last summer. As a second question, you said you were an Army vet. What was your MOS? I was 11 Bravo. Oh, infantry. Don't make fun of me, but I was 31 Bravo, which is military police. And the reason why I chose it is because I was National Guardsman. The reason why I chose National Guardsman is because I wanted to go in and out. I enlisted for 3 years in 2006. And I'm like, I want to go do a year in Iraq, because at that time I believed in it. I thought it was justified and I was going to be a war hero. It's before I woke up and figured out all the lies about that. And the reason why I chose 31 Bravo is because there was a police company here so there's an infantry National Guard company that had already deployed and they weren't due to go again. And the one that was due to go again was the military police. And just to clarify, this wasn't to be garrison MP. This was combat MP. There's a difference. So you're trained, MPs do tactical missions. They kick down doors. They do convoy security. They go outside the wire. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to get my hands dirty. I wanted to, shoot a suicide bomber. That was the plan. And so that's why I chose it. Because the people who aren't in the military don't understand the level of hate that military police get. Guys, I knew some really cool military police people. But then the other half, man, they're power hungry. They're the kind of people that should not be police. You'd be amazed at how many military police steal from other people and break the rules. Like I was warned ahead of time. People told me that was going to be the case. And then I saw it. I'm like, oh my God, half you people should never be law enforcement. But hey, it's all good. I don't want to hate. But that's actually the truth. Let's see here. Yeah, people talking about, all right, so the attempted murder of Trump did not succeed. I think another attempt will be made. I think it is being planned by people within and above the Secret Service. Brother, I agree. It couldn't be more obvious that was an inside job. That was an inside job. Nothing about it makes sense. It couldn't be more obvious. And I'm not saying everyone in the Secret Service. There just have to be a few people, realistically, to pull something off, to facilitate the advantage for the shooter. And now I'm not convinced there wasn't more than one shooter. I think there was two shooters. They're trying to make it sound like it's not a thing. And I'm like, you got to just look at everything they try to cover up. It's like what you need to look at. But there's no way that kid pulled all that he did off on his own. He had help. I will say Trump is a total badass, not just for how he responded in the moment. That was unbelievable. But now he's saying he's going to continue to do outdoor rallies and he's going to go back to Butler, Pennsylvania, to the same exact site to do another one. Wow. Now, I would advise against it. In my mind, he needs to be surrounded by glass like the Pope at all times. But I'm not comparing myself to him, but I have that same arrogance in me too. I want to be like, if someone's trying to push me down, I'm like, fuck you. I'm going to go do another rally. I get the mentality. I mean, look, it's a level of arrogance, and you'll live longer if you're not arrogant. So I'm not saying I'm cool because I'm an idiot. I am, but I respect it. I totally respect it. Let's see here. It was an inside job by Trump. LOL. Biden is a dead body. Guys, all right, that was not an inside job by Trump. For a variety of reasons. That was not staged. And you know what? If it was, let's just say that's the case. You don't think that the deep state and the media and everyone that's been trying to destroy him for the last 9 years wouldn't be tearing that narrative apart and be down to the case? They were investigating him for absolutely everything. You don't think they'd put him on blast? If Trump had staged that, you don't think they would destroy him for that and uncover it? It doesn't make sense. And not to mention, are we just going to pretend that the other gentleman, Corey, forgive me, forgetting his last name, that he didn't get his head blown off and was killed and two other people were seriously injured? And Trump was willing to take a grazing shot to the ear, to risk it? I don't believe it for a second. People get mad at me. I was putting this out on Twitter saying that, like, hey, I don't believe for a second it was staged. Guys, it wasn't. Real life happens. Like, real life happens in real life, which is that let's just say the shooter was a lone gunman. That's totally possible. I mean, that's not what happened in this case. I can't even say it like that. But it is possible for one person with a gun to change the world. And I think what you witnessed is just real life. It happened. It took Trump by surprise. And the Secret Service at the highest levels facilitated the opportunity. And God knows who else. I'm convinced of it. People, life is a stage. Half of it is. Let's be real. But that's not what I saw in that. All right. What else we got here? Give me some more comments here. I want to show them up here. Any super chats? Let's see here. Jimmy, I wanted to send you... Thank you, Eduardo Santos. I wanted to send you this message for you to check on the drawings of Marcello Theater in Rome. Looks pretty megalithic. Thanks, brother. I'm going to have to look into that. We just got one from... See, depending what screen I'm on, guys, it doesn't let me showcase it because I'm using a streaming platform. So that's the problem. Tijuana border jumper, proud military police, U.S. Air Force. Right on, brother. Hell yeah. Dude, it's a cool gig. People that hate on it are just mad they didn't choose MP. I'm telling you. It's a cool gig. I would not have chosen anything different. My dad was so mad at me when I was enlisting. I did well enough on the ASVAB. My GT score was high enough to do anything. And my dad's like, go be a pilot. Go do this, do that. I'm like, no. Like, I didn't tell him this. And this isn't something I admitted until years later, but I was thinking it the whole time, which is that I wanted... It's like a man versus man thing. They're the enemy and we're going to fight. We're going to have a fair fight. And I'm going to shoot a suicide bomber before they blow me up or someone else. That was the plan. Because that's all you saw on the TV at the time was IEDs, and suicide bombers. And keep in mind, I was a young guy. I was in my early 20s. And I thought it was going to be my opportunity. And I know that sounds a little cringe now, and I'm so glad it never came down to it, honestly. But that was what was going through Jimmy's mind at the time, because I thought I was going to be a hero. And that sounds silly. I hate saying it out loud. I feel like cringe. But hey, I grew up watching lots of movies, man. My dad was a Vietnam vet. Both my grandfathers were World War II vets. Watching Black Hawk Down, Braveheart, Last of the Mohicans, all the other movies. It's like there's something very special about being a warrior, right? So that was what was going through my mind. Let's see here. All right, what other questions? I want to pin some and ask one. Let's see here. You are manipulated, Roger Paquette. Yes, I was manipulated. That is true. It's a fact, and it's very liberating once you figure that out. It was so unbelievably hard on me to learn that war was based on lies. But once you make it through that, especially once you realize how many people that commit suicide. I know several people from the military that commit suicide. My best friend was killed in Afghanistan. And so it's a really tough pill to swallow, to be like, oh my God, they lied. And it wasn't just mistakes. Otherwise, they would have corrected them. They were flagrant lies. Okay, Traveling Fools. No way possible that Herpy Potter looking nerd acted alone. Keep up the great work, amigo. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Yeah, there's no way he did. He was not a lone gunman. He had help. And now they're finding that he had contacts overseas and all this other stuff. Like, none of it makes sense. Thank you, Dan Clooney. No message, but thank you for the $20. I appreciate it. Any more docs about the explosives in the tower of 9/11? Great question. I didn't mean to click off and click on. Okay, so guys, Tower 7 is so crazy. I never, ever. So I was a senior in high school in 9/11, so I was profoundly affected by that, because senior in high school is a very impressionable age. But when you look into the details as an adult, guys, we still have not had all the documents on 9/11 declassified, which is a red flag. But Tower 7, that 47-story building where the NSA and the CIA was in, didn't get hit by a plane, and you look at the way it falls. Like, I'm not convinced the Twin Towers were lined with explosives, but I won't rule it out. I don't know. But Tower 7, man, if there was any evidence that there was something that, let me just say this. I have questions. Questions are okay, and if everything was on the up and up, they'd be getting answered, wouldn't they? All right, DL, Mega is the 5th degree you can reach in the Church of, I guess you're saying Satan, also known as the highest. Don't take my word for it. Look it up. Have a nice day. I didn't know that. I will have to look into that. Let's see here. Jimmy, was the worldwide civilization wiped out at the same time as Atlantis, and was Atlantis evil? I think the answer is yes to all the above. I think that, let me just say this. When it comes to Atlantis and the cataclysm, like, I think the most likely site for the capital was at the Rishat structure. I won't go down that on this live stream because I've talked about it a billion times. One of my friends, Nikki, she told me that she thinks that Atlantis was an epoch of time that was global. And I do think that ancient civilizations were advanced and global. So maybe we should look at them as the Atlantis, not just one little location. And I do believe that they're all wiped out at the same period of time. And I think it all ties together. Now, that being said, one of the videos I'm working on is going to be involving pole shifts. This is going to be one of my most important videos ever. Because the more I've researched it, pole shifts, I believe, are the missing link in ancient human civilization. It ties in with sun cycles as well. When you have a geomagnetic pole excursion, which weakens the Earth's shields, we are vastly susceptible to the sun. We all saw, 2 months ago with that solar flare that caused all kinds of havoc and caused the northern lights down to Mexico. That is further proof that the Earth's shields are declining, which is a scientific fact, by the way. It's known. Let's see here. People saying all kinds of stuff. Let's see how the chat looks here on YouTube. Got a good crowd here. I just got to double check every once in a while. Let's see here. All right. All right. How are we looking here on Rumble? Looks good. Got a great crowd. All right. All right. What questions you guys have? I wish I could, it'd be fun is if they had a way for somebody to like call in real quick. I wanted to bring a guest on to this one. I think it'd be fun to have like, a recurring guest to just shoot the shit on these live streams to make it more fun as opposed to me talking in a bedroom by myself. FYI, I had to spell it Satan because YouTube wouldn't allow me to send that last message with the proper spelling. Seriously? Hold on. I'm going to test this out. I'm going to type in Satan right now. Let me know if this goes through. Let me see if that went through. Stand by, because I have to hit refresh on my thing. Yeah, let me type in Satan. It wouldn't let you, though. That's interesting. That's messed up. Church of Satan's a real thing, people. Yeah, hail Satan. I love these comments. Funny. I love that you talk to your fans like Nazis. Yeah, I don't know what you mean. Yeah, someone said it may not go through for super chats. I think that's the case. All right, let's see here. Come on, people, ask me something here. Yeah, super chat blocks certain words. Okay, good to know. Thank you, Erie. Okay. Did you catch the Grand Master of Knights Templar, Atlantis, and the Ark? No, I have not. I need to look into that. I am really sketched out, though, when it comes to the Knights Templar and anything involving Freemasonry. I'll be honest with you. And the reason is because if they claim to have information related to our historical past, I don't like that they keep it secret. I understand the historical context, which is that there were things that could not be said publicly, so they kept it in inner circles. This is what they say, because like it could involve imprisonment or death. But like, guys, it's 2024, and anyone that claims to know anything needs to say it now. For example, there's a certain very high-level Freemason of note that some of you may know. I won't mention his name, but he has told other people that he knows things that he can't say publicly, and I just am so bothered by that. The problems in the world involve us being kept in the dark. Secrets have led to a decline of our civilization. We've been lied to in virtually every capacity of our lives. And how's that working out for mankind? Not too good. I think that anyone that knows anything of any type of significance now should say it. Like, I'll just say it like this. I don't like secrets. We're not, you know what I mean? Like, you can have your own little secret in your own life, things you don't want to share, like little white lies, whatever, like stuff that doesn't matter. But if it's something that mankind would benefit to know, now is the time to speak the fuck up. Honestly. Like, it bothers me, actually, the more I think about it. I'm like, if there's people that are harboring knowledge of our ancient past and they're not sharing it, they can go fuck themselves. Honestly. All right, let's see here. Give me some comments here. All right, so somebody asked, what do you think would have happened if the attempt succeeded? That was, here we go here. Honestly, I believe Nikki Haley would have been the nominee, and they would have rushed her forward to be the president, and it would have been a done deal. I think that was the plan. Nikki Haley is deep state, one of the least trustworthy people out there, and I believe that was the plan. I really, really do. And it fell through, but it didn't work out, which makes me think that you have another plan. Serpents, my first super chat got skipped somehow. Sorry, brother. I don't know what you said. Let's see here. Do you think the ancient symbol that you mentioned in your last video could be connected to pole shifts or coronal mass ejection? I believe you're referring to the swastika, because it won't let you type it out, I assume. As far as pole shifts, that I don't know. Some people say the swastika is, and let me just preface it with this to anyone hearing this for the first time. The swastika is a prehistoric symbol that dates back approximately 10,000 years and is found on 5 continents around the world. Never mind the Nazis and all that, okay? Some people say that the symbol might be depicting the Milky Way galaxy or the Big Dipper going in cycles. I'm not convinced of that. I'm really not. It could be, but it's found as far, south as Peru, and you can barely, if not see the Big Dipper at all. I know you can see part of it, but I'm like, I'm not so sure that, because why would they be depicting the swastika in Peru? thousands of years ago if they could barely see it. And if you look, because the Big Dipper, I can't show it with my hands. I just feel like they could be more specific with the illustration if that's what they were trying to showcase. I don't rule it out, but I feel like it's something more than that. Let's see here. Someone said here. Okay, AZ. Yeah, the sun, the four seasons, the cardinal directions, equinoxes, solstices, and the Big Dipper going around polars. You may be exactly right. You really might. And it actually would almost make sense that that's what they'd want to show. DL99, thank you for the 999. You should check out the Moon Earth overlay map, search vibes of cosmos for the best example. It will fundamentally change your perspective on everything and may closely be connected to your work. Thank you for that. I'm making a mental note on that. That's a good, yeah, there's some weird stuff about the moon. Let's see here. Someone said it represents the circle of life and reincarnation. It's a wheel that turns. That could be the case. It could be. Swastika is the Hebrew name of God of rune in form. Oh, that's interesting. Let's see here. I watched you for 4 years, man. Would love to talk to you. It's obvious Trump is going to lose, though. Do you mean obvious in that they're going to steal it from him? Because I believe they're going to do everything they can to do that. They'll stop him at all costs. I don't believe it's obvious as far as the masses. He's going to get more votes than Obama got, just like he did last time. Oh, right on. I live in Prescott. So believe it or not, I've been looking to move there. I'm not at the moment. It'll be at least another year out because I'm going to be where I'm at now for another year. But I'm really looking into the Prescott area. To me, to anyone that's not familiar, it's like an hour and a half to 2 hours outside Phoenix. North has 4 seasons. I've been really looking into this. It has 4 seasons. Doesn't get super, super hot in the summer. Gets some rain, only a little bit of snow, enough to enjoy it. It's friendly from what I understand. Akbar Adilov. I didn't say that right, but whatever. Forgive me. Have you read the major and minor signs before the end times in Islam? One of which is the rise of the sun in the west coming back to your polar shift theory. The rest are also interesting. Yes, I have. This is something that's in my notes for my next, not my next video, probably the one after that for the pole shift. But yeah. So the theologians will say that, oh, well, that's just talking about that when you die, you go to the west. I'm like, are you sure? How do you know? Because they specifically say the time that the sun rose in the west. It says it in the Quran. I'm like, how do we not? Maybe they're literally telling us exactly that, what they witnessed. I actually think that that's the case. So I'm going to have to, I'll be sharing that in my video as well. Let's see here. Yeah. The elections have been corrupted. Guys, the whole republic is at stake here. Like, a lot of people get mad at me for being a Trump supporter. I don't care. But I want to be like, are you guys not paying attention? The republic has arguably already fallen. If I'm right about 2020 being stolen, and I know that I am, but I know I won't convince everybody, because what am I going to do? Share it right here? Proof right here, right? But if that's the case, then the republic fell at the last election. Probably decades before that. We just didn't realize it. But that's, if anything, if there was one example to showcase that, it's then. Patrick Pope. Hey, Jimmy, can the current government seize control and cancel elections if they declare the country in a wide state of emergency? So I have something to say about that. This ties into what I think is coming. Okay. This is dark, but I have to share it. You got to think like an evil person for a moment. Use your imagination. What if, and God, I hate to say it and put it into the universe, but I have an obligation to just share the idea because I think it'd be effective, as evil and as unimaginable as it is. Let's just say hypothetically, on election day this year, when the polls open, in almost every state around the country, or most of them or whatever, or at least the consequential ones, at numerous polling stations in each state, you have an active shooter that shows up. And regardless of how heinous or successful they are at shooting people, God forbid, polling's done that day. It's over, right? Imagine, hypothetically, in 30 to 50 states around the country, all of a sudden, all at once, There was an active shooter at each polling station. Not all of them, not 100%, because there's thousands and thousands, but a bunch of them. How could you possibly continue the election from there, or at least the voting? Right? It's over, at least for that day. And then what? You have to organize a new one? What do you do? Maybe they make the terrorist threat to be so significant that there can be no more polling stations for a while and we have to do a mail-in. The options are endless, but yeah, it is possible for them to wreck that somehow. I'm fearful of this, but there's something in me that says that the powers that be are so desperate and so sinister, they would stop at nothing. Nothing. So that's something we have to be aware of. Guys, conceal carry everywhere. Train on a firearm, learn how to use it well, and you should carry one everywhere you go. Oh, I hate talking about dark stuff like that. I hate putting that stuff out into the universe. But it's like, what are all these people coming over across the border? The young men that have been on clips saying, wait till you see what's coming. People from Syria. You saw this, right? There's been known terrorist cells that have already come across the border. Why? You think they want to go get a job at McDonald's? I think that they're planning something. Okay, so this comment, forgive me. My first ever message got skipped. Do you think ancients knew and used radioactive elements like the Ark in Ethiopia? That is a great question. I do think that frequency is something that would be used in any form of technology. We see it in our Wi-Fi and everything else. And radioactive is exactly that. Radio. It's in the very word. It gives off a frequency. So it's very possible. And that's what they say, is that the Ark of the Covenant was in Ethiopia and people that got near it were burned, died. That's a deep one. I ultimately don't know the answer. It's all speculation. Thank you so much, Kyra. Much love from Austin. Austin's fun. Let's see here. Any evidence of an advanced civilization in the Younger Dryas that could have been washed out by a massive flood? Yes, all of it. Let's just be real. If there was any type of global civilization anywhere near the coastlines, as most would be, that would be washed away. Let's just say, for example, the Rishat structure. Let's just pretend that was a civilization, Atlantis or not. Actually, let me forget that. Just the Sahara Desert. It is a scientific fact that the Sahara was green up to 5,000 years ago and had some of the largest network of rivers ever to exist, the largest freshwater lake, and the scientific studies have shown that there was vast human habitation throughout it, which makes total sense. And it's gone. And it looks like the Sahara was blasted by a force of water, right? I think that would be a case in point for that. It's unsubstantiated, right? I can't totally prove it. Scientists disagree with me, but I think that water destroys everything and washes everything away. And if there was evidence down there, it's since gone. Someone said something. Jimmy, please comment on this. Noah's ship is most probably in Yemen at the Al-Judi mountain. All right, so this is the first I'm hearing of this. Everyone's always said that, Noah's Ark would be in Turkey. Al-Judi mountain. All right, so I have to make a mental note. Al-Judi mountain, because that's the first I've ever heard of that. I'm glad I saw your comment. I almost missed it. Let's see here. What are other people saying here? Oh, here, let's put this up. Amen. I'm just kidding. People, that'll get people riled up. Trump is a man. Although I think Jesus was a man too. I don't want to get too controversial here, but I think he was trying to tell us that God is in all of us. If you were to go look through all of his scripture, everything that was said from Jesus, and look at a gentleman named Neville Goddard, and he thinks that the Bible has been mistranslated and that it was written in first person, which is that read it, everything that Jesus said as if you wrote it, that I am the I am. It's super wild. It's super deep. That doesn't take anything away from a God. But some of the things that Jesus said is very similar to, or at least let's say things in the book of Proverbs are very similar to things that are from Buddhism from 500 years earlier. Look into that. It's a wild one. And some people speculate that Jesus had traveled to the Orient, is what it was called back then, in the search of a pilgrimage or a knowledge, because there's no documentation what he was up to before he was like 30. That's a wild one. I don't want to get too off it right now, but I'm with you. I think that's super fascinating. Let's see here. Yep. Someone said 100% mistranslated. And if nothing else, there's been books that have been removed from the Bible, the Book of Enoch, right? Like, and I look at, so I was raised Catholic. I'm not Catholic. I don't even consider myself Christian. I'm a believer. I look at all the religions around the world, and I believe that I am one with the source of all that is, and the source of all that is with me. Source being, call it God, call it the divine, call it the creation. Whatever the source is, where the Most High, I like to say that, the Most High is in all of us. And the religions around the world don't try to make you aware of that. Jordan Peterson, MK Ultra Puppet. All right, I've been seeing Jordan Peterson go through the ringer lately, and I'm going to defend him. I think he's misplaced on things that are happening in Israel. 100% actually. But I think he's one of the good guys. I want to believe it. He's inspired me in the past. I think he's done a great service for helping men. I think he's lost his way a little bit in that look who he's caught up with. He's caught up with the Daily Wire and everything else, and maybe he just has some blinders up. It breaks my heart to see people crucifying him. I think he's one of the good guys. I think he means well. He's just not right about everything. Nobody is. I'll get some hate for this, but skipped my super chat. Erie, hold on, let me see if I can find it. I don't see it. I love you, though. I can't put this one up, but from Buster Nut Smash, funny screen name. Have you heard of the book of Gehemi? I'm not saying that right. Underwhite by Dr. Heinrich Kusch. Talks about and provides evidence of a 60,000-year-old underground civilization. I have never heard of that in my life. I need to circle back to that. Forgive me, guys. I'm picking comments at random and just hitting them. When you see me put these comments on stage, like this one, I'm not reading them ahead of time. I'm being pure about this. I'm just putting it on there. People could talk shit about me, and I'm going to throw it up there. I'm just hitting them at random. I'll see one or two words and just hit it. But forgive me for missing your prior one. All right, so what does this one say? From Angela. Jimmy, what are your thoughts on the World Fair expeditions from the 1900, how they might have been a reset for the New World narrative? So I've heard so many things about this, but I've never gone down that rabbit hole, so I can't speak to it. It almost seems like it ties into the Tartaria thing, right? Like where it's like civilization around the world may have been reset just a few hundred years ago, and we've been egregiously lied to. I will say I don't want that to be true. I hope it's not true. But the World's Fair is something I need to look into because I've heard it time and time again with people saying, like, talking about the World's Fair and stuff involving our past. So I got to dig into that. Okay. I am from Kazakhstan. And I was wondering if you heard of anything about ancient sites and so on that are not talked about enough around Central Asia. Yeah, I don't really know of sites around Central Asia, honestly. I will say that the first thing that I think of involving Central Asia is that when you look at the vast erosion across the Sahara Desert, it appears that originated northeast of that up in Central Asia. So I'll have to look into that. I don't know what sites there are out there, but isn't that where Tibet is, where all the monks are? Right? I think I'm in the same area, right? Let's see here. Oops. This one's putting me on blast. It's all right. I'll read it. Jimmy pontificating the gospel instead of obeying it. How so? I don't know what you mean. Let's see here. Yeah, it'd be cool to visit Kazakhstan. Very pretty. All right. Rahul, have you heard of Dwarka City that sank like Atlantis? Yes, and I think they may have found evidence of it approximately 120 feet down under the ocean off the coast of India, correct? I've talked about this in some of my very early videos, like several years ago. I just don't know much about it. That's not a topic that I've researched in depth because I've been keeping India to the back burner because it's such a profound topic. Like I've been focusing on Egypt and Peru, and I've told myself that I'm like, I need to go visit India and then go down that rabbit hole. Because it's beyond any doubt in my mind that ancient India is definitive evidence of a lost civilization as well. The stonework out there is so profound, it makes no sense. And few people are aware of it. Sure, millions and millions of people are aware of it, but not like the Egyptians and the pre-Inca of South America. Excuse me. Let's see here. I heard Jesus went to India, and he might have learned the meditation from Naga sadhus. Forgive me for mispronunciation, but that's how he was able to bear pain, leave, dissociate the body, and come back. Good Friday. That's fascinating because that goes along with the lines of what I just said earlier, where people said that he had traveled to the Orient in a pilgrimage. So it could easily be India. I'm going to have to dig into that. That's pretty interesting. Let's see here. Let's see. I know I'm missing lots of comments. I want to take a second to see what I see. Hold on here. Let me just double check on Rumble to make sure those are showing up on my feed. Hold on. Smash the like button, everybody, while you're at it. I don't know how much of a difference it makes, but why not? Okay. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Thoughts on Operation Warp Speed. Stop ignoring me. Okay. I am completely against the vax. I never got one, and I pled with my family not to get it as well. I do think there's two things I'm going to say. One, which is that early on, I believe that Trump was misled, and because I assume that's what you're getting at, right? Is that Trump facilitated warp speed, something that everyone wanted at the time, and he surrounded himself by people that he put his trust in, and he was wrong. I will say this: he never mandated it, which goes a long way with me. He also put Fauci on the back burner like midway through the whole COVID thing. That's a little known detail that a lot of people don't focus on. But a side point is that I think that Trump fully understands that Big Pharma is a cartel. They make people disappear. They are literal cartel. And they would go like this to him if he went against them. I'm against Operation Warp Speed. I hate that he talks about it. But I think that he is a chess. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. If you want my honest answer, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt and believe that under the circumstances, he thought he was doing what was right, giving half the population exactly what they wanted, and that he is tiptoeing around powerful entities that could wipe him away. I like to focus on that he never mandated it. It's a tough one. That's not the answer everyone wants. I'm making excuses. I could be wrong. But that's the way I perceived it at the time. I was watching all the press conferences, and midway through, he access denied Fauci and prevented him from even speaking. He knew he was a villain. I just think that Trump he plays chess, and he understands that you can't always. It's like from The Godfather. Keep your enemies close, or keep your friends close and keep your enemies closer. That's what I think, or at least I want to believe. I know I could be wrong. Meta Whale, have you thought about doing a collab with Praveen Mohan on ancient Indian site? Yes. I want to hit him up when I go to India. I'd love for him to tour me around. He'd be the guy to do it with. He's covering ancient India like no one else. Okay, Michael Carter. Jimmy, Streamlabs allows for a way to call in, or you can get a phone call number just for your live stream to allow people to call in via cell phone. Just try and help you out, brother. Thank you, because I am using StreamYard. I think that's what you meant. Unless you meant Streamlabs, if that's something I'm not familiar with. But I'm using StreamYard right now to facilitate going on both YouTube and Rumble at the same time. Real quick, let me just mention my sponsor one more time. The link is in the description down below. Guys, stock up on your prescription drugs ahead of time. Antibiotics from the Wellness Company, as well as the Spike Detox Trio from the Wellness Company. If you or a loved one is having issues from long COVID or the vaccine, check those things out. Share it with your friends and loved ones. Just want to mention that real quick. Fun screen name. Just found your channel. I like how to talk to chat. I appreciate it, brother. I'm glad you found me. Watch all my videos and hit the like button. Jimmy, more live streams. You have a talent for it. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, because here I am sitting here talking to myself in this empty spare bedroom of my house, thinking that I'm not good at it. Literally in my mind, I'm thinking like, oh, Jimmy, you're all over the place. You're annoying. You're not staying on one topic. You're reading comments and you don't know what you're doing. So I appreciate that. I like that some people like it. I do know that there's room for growth. At some point, I'll get an assistant and have someone help me with this live, you know, and I it could be better. But I really appreciate that. That's motivating. Um, Thank you, Randall Mars. I appreciate that. I love it. What else do you guys have? I was planning on wrapping this up at an hour. We're at an hour and 15 minutes now, but I feel like going for a few more minutes. I'm having fun. That's an interesting comment. It's a very interesting comment right there. Read it, people, and do your own research. But there's some crazy stuff here. Let's see. Thank you so much, Stephanie. Oh, Stephanie's pretty. Thank you, Stephanie. I appreciate that. Let's see. We got Krigler in here. Jimmy, I'd love to have you on my show sometime. Guys, if you're not following Adam Krigler, he's absolutely awesome. Bro, I'm so glad I saw your comment. I almost missed it. Yes, let's absolutely do it. And I'd love to come back on Nerdrotic with you too, or both. I've been waiting for the right moment to do that. I've been busy getting caught up with Rumble and YouTube and making myself accountable to doing 2 videos every single month and 2 live streams, because I got off the path and it became difficult to make videos on a regular basis. And I realized I'm like, I have to commit, and I should be making more than 2 videos every month, but I want to make them count. But yes, absolutely, brother. Guys, if you're not following Adam Krigler, go follow him on X right now. He has all kinds of awesome insight on all kinds of different topics. He's similar to me. We both have the political passion, the passion for the ancients and various conspiracies. And he's one of the good guys. He cares about mankind. You should look into his own story. He's an inspiration. And I won't share the details on this live stream, but he's somebody that spoke up when it mattered, and it cost him at the time. And he's one of the good guys. Adam, I love you, brother. But yes, let's absolutely do it in the next few weeks or months for sure. Let's see here. What else do we got here? Let me scroll down. That's right. Great to see you live, Jimmy. Practice makes perfect. You bet, Ruth. Thank you so much. I'm scrolling down. Let's see. I want to find some good questions here. Nerdrotic, yes. Everybody tell Gary you love him. I don't know if he's on here. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Jimmy, are you planning a cameo with Suspicious Observer's new project on the Pole Shift? Oh my God. I just realized I owe him a text message. I was traveling when he messaged me and he asked if I want to be part of it. I said, let me call you when I get home. And then I got caught up, and I'm just now realizing I'm on live that I haven't got back to him yet. Okay, so Ben Davison is the man. And the answer is yes to that question. I should text him right now while I'm doing this. Like, bro, let's see. I love it. Andrew, thank you so much. Let's see here. All right. What up, Alibaba? Great work, Jimmy. I discovered you in early 2019. Glad to see you're doing so well. I appreciate it. What's this one say? Jimmy, have you heard about the hydroplate theory by Bayan Nickel? Uses geological evidence to describe how a worldwide flood could have happened, and also explains many weird geological features. I have not heard of hydroplate theory, but it may be along the lines of what I already understand, which is that a vast majority of all water on Earth is under the crust and in the mantle. Like way more, it's more than all the oceans combined. And what also comes to mind is that if you look at the legend of the flood from the Bible, everyone talks about and focuses on how it was said to rain for 40 days and 40 nights, but they ignore or omit or just forget or aren't aware of the verse that comes immediately after that or immediately before, which says that all the springs of the earth opened and caused the flood, and then the rain as well. Something tells me that hydroplate theory is along those lines. Let's see here. What else we got here? Yes, he will. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. I love that Jimmy knows that the U.S. is a republic and not a democracy. Yes! I get so annoyed when I hear politicians and people in the news media say, protect democracy. Yeah, democracy is a thing, but they're saying Trump is destroying democracy. I'm like, we need to talk about the republic. And a lot of people don't understand what it means. So I appreciate you bringing that up. And I appreciate that you appreciate that I know what it is. Let's see here. All right. Brian Jones. Hey, Jimmy, have you covered Edward Leedskallen yet? Forgive me, I'm not saying his name right. But if we're talking about the same, I follow someone on Twitter that I think you're referring to, unless you're talking about someone else. To be honest, as you're asking me here on the spot, I'm not 100% sure I'm thinking of the same person. So forgive me, but I'll make a note of that as well. I hate when I get asked questions, I just don't know the answer, but at least I'll tell you if I don't know. Some people don't do that. It's amazing how many other people I watch, they'll be asked some question in an interview or a podcast, and they'll just like start talking out of their ass. And I'm like, just say you don't know. Don't just say you don't know. Thank God I had a great mentor in my prior career. I learned this lesson the hard way twice. Once in the military and once when I was a noob being trained. And two different separate people, one in the military, one in the corporate career, said the same thing. Like, if you don't know, just say you don't know. Always say you don't know. And then you'll look like a champ in comparison, because a lot of people, most people maybe even, won't just say they don't know, and then they make a fool of themselves. If you don't know the answer, just say you don't know and ask, like, where can I learn about this? And next time you ask me about it, I'll know the answer, sir. Thank you. And then you're good. And people respect that, because not everyone knows everything, right? All right, let's see here. Ooh, damn, hitting us with some truth here. Yeah, they guys, they did Socrates dirty. They did him dirty bad. Yeah. But that wasn't democracy though. That was corruption, right? He was informing the youth. They were saying he was corrupting the youth. He was spitting truth bombs on him. That's why they killed him. He was getting people to think for themselves. That's why they killed him. Forced him to commit suicide, right? Drink the poison. What's this say? Hi, chat. After show, let's flood Jimmy's videos with regular comments and start a larger permanent chat dialogue. Hey, guys, I don't want to ask for any favors here, but if you want to share my video on Baalbek, because, guys, that was a dud in the algorithm. I was a little bothered by that. I'm grateful to get any amount of views that I do, but that one was a dud. So if you were to share it across social media, it might help give it a second wind, but could be because there's a lot of things going on in the world right now, and not everybody, wants to talk about the ancients. Sorry, Roger, you skipped my super chat. When I'm talking and I miss them and I hate it and I can't even see it. I don't know where it is. I don't know what you said. I love you though. Let me see how we're looking here on YouTube real quick, because the streaming platform I'm using, I feel like isn't showing me everything. We got over 2,000 on YouTube, and we got over 2,600 on Rumble. Guys, shout out to Rumble. Honestly, you should be on Rumble. I love YouTube, guys. They've been good to me, but honestly, how is it I'm getting more views on Rumble than YouTube when I have like 100,000 followers on Rumble and 1.6 million on YouTube? I'm being suppressed. It takes 2 minutes to create an account. Type in an email and then create a password. That's it. I'm all about the freedom of speech. All right, I got a super chat from Joe Lamont. I don't think I can put it on my screen, but it says, you and Mr. Ballin were in the Army, same area. You guys should do a collab about weird stuff. Also, Proveen Mohan collab ideas on the Black Knight. Okay, a couple things. I love Mr. Ballin. I haven't watched his videos recently, but I love the guy. No, he was a badass. He was either Special Forces or a Ranger. I'm not on the cool level as him. He did far more high-speed stuff in the military than I did, but hey, we both deployed, and I love the guy. And as far as the Black Knight satellite, listen, I have no idea. I want it to be real. I want it to be true. But the reality is that I have no idea what that thing is, if it is anything or not, right? I don't know. Elon Musk, that's a question for Elon Musk. Let's be real. Kurt Stacy, on the gates of paradise in Italy, Noah's Ark is depicted as a pyramid. Have you checked this out? This is the first time I'm hearing that. And that's wild. Gates of paradise in Italy, Noah's Ark. First I'm ever hearing of this. That's wild. Let's see here. What else we got here? What do you guys think? Edward Leedskalnin built a megalithic structure in Florida. Oh, I'm sorry. Coral Castle guy only gave hint on how magnetics and electricity. Thank you for the $20, by the way. It's the second time, and to clarify. So that's to clarify, I believe you're talking about Coral Castle. I don't know what to think about Coral Castle, because we never saw the video of it, and he died with his secrets, right? So I'm like, was everything on the up and up there? Did he have what he claimed to have had to levitate the stones? Why die with it unless it was stolen or something? So to me, I'm like, when people take the secrets to the grave, assuming that I'm correct and that's how it played out, I'm bothered by it. I'm like, what are you hiding? But I don't know. I don't know. Metal Whale, have you heard about dark oxygen discovery? Yes, but I haven't dived into it yet. To me, it sounds like it goes along with the same lines of dark matter and other things. Like I don't even know. I saw something. It may have been Rogan reposting it on Instagram or something. I can't speak to it, but I have heard about it. But I don't know what it means. I don't know anything about it. That's the thing. There's so many crazy things going on in the world. You can't keep up with everything, right? Like you see something, you make a mental note of it. I'm like, oh, I'll study this at some point. And then I get asked about it, 3 days later. And I'm like, I don't know. You can only look at, we're saturated with so many things now. You can hardly keep up. All right, let's see here. What else we got here? Jimmy, thoughts of Pyramid of Khafre? Do you still theorize it was built by Khufu? No, I think it absolutely wasn't. So Khafre, he's referring to the Great Pyramid. And no, I don't think it was built by Khufu. Unless our understanding of Khufu, which we know very little about, is just so far from the truth, whatever we think we know. But no, I think it was made by a pre-civilization. It's either that or whatever was happening on the Giza Plateau 4,500 years ago, assuming that's even the age of the pyramids, which I doubt, but assuming that that's true, I think that whatever that looked like there is so vastly different from our comprehension. I think that those pyramids were technology, if you want my honest truth. Let's see here. Lots of stuff on Coral Castle. Okay, Jordan Richards said, you should look up the real Noah's Ark found. There is a documentary about it. If it's real, then it's in Turkey. See, this is what gets me so fascinated with Göbekli Tepe. There's a number of reasons why I'm so fascinated about it, but some people have theorized that, because you know how there's these 200 pillars, only 72 of them approximately have been unearthed, but they all have animals on them. And it's in the same geographical region as where Noah's Ark had allegedly settled on Mount Ararat. It's hundreds of miles away, but it's the same geographical region. And in the Bible, it talks about how when Noah left the ark with his animals, he built an altar and sacrificed he was specific on which animals. It was certain birds and certain clean animals, whatever. And some people theorize, could that be Noah's Ark? Could Göbekli Tepe be the altar that Noah had went to after the flood? And yes, I think that the Noah's Ark existed and the flood happened as well. But it doesn't mean that every animal and creature on Earth was on that boat. It could just be whatever they had availability to save. It doesn't, you know what I mean? Some people take it at face value. And I think we know very little, but I do believe that there was some sort of mechanism, whether it be a boat or an underground city like Darren Kuyu, whatever it was, I do believe that something happened in the prehistoric past involving the cataclysm, which included a flood, where there was people who were aware of it before it happened through scientific, whether they heard a voice from God in the sky or they were studying the cosmos and knew it was going to happen. Things get lost in translation, but I do believe that something happened. People saw it coming and went to great extent to preserve life. And I look at Göbekli Tepe, guys, it is a fact that they have stated that they're saving full excavations for future generations. Yes, archaeologists are out there right now, but it's small, it's limited. They're documenting things. They're not digging up all the pillars. There's at least, let's just say approximately 128 that are underground, well over half. And as of right now, excavations to unearth them are at an indefinite standstill. And that ties into the World Economic Forum with the Doges Group, the CEO of the company, and they're sole partners of the site that control excavation and tourism management. I'm telling you, it all ties together. Not everyone believes me, but I'm like, there's something here. It's the oldest and most mysterious site on Earth, arguably. Yes, I know other sites in Turkey are said to be a little bit older, Karen Tepe, but there's other evidence to suggest that they're the same age. That's neither here nor there. The point is that when it comes to Noah's Ark in Turkey and Göbekli Tepe and those underground cities, I think it's all related. I think those underground cities in Turkey, and there's hundreds of them. There's at least 200 of them, but a handful of them could hold tens of thousands of people individually. I think there's something there. I think those, I wouldn't be surprised if those were the arcs, so to speak. But all right, I lost a bunch in the meantime because I've been rambling. I'm going to wrap this up soon. We're at an hour and a half, but you guys are asking fun questions, and I still have a little bit of wine in front of me, and Saturday night, and I have nothing else going on tonight. I'm just hanging. What's this say? Any actual, oh, another one from Jared. Any true, actual life-changing knowledge is not released to us peons. This is an obvious fact. Vatican Library, for example. I'm with you. Dude, they could have the cure for cancer for all we know, and they're not telling us because they want to just keep us on chemo and do 6 months of radiation and everything else, and bring up the hospital bills and everything. I'm not. I'm smart in some ways. I'm dumb in most, but I really appreciate the compliment. I wish I didn't even put it on there, but I love you for saying it. What's this say? Jimmy, what are your thoughts on the 400K-year-old ruins in Siberia and the remains that dated 200K Caucasian memory hold? I've never heard of this. I don't know. I've heard of super ancient stuff in South Africa, Michael Tellinger, but I don't know about this one. I wish I did. Forgive me, brother. There we go. Yes, look into Building 7. Ilana, have you talked to Timothy Albernino? You should go on Quite Frankly. So I love Timothy. He's great. And I follow Quite Frankly, on Twitter as well. We've talked about doing a podcast. I just haven't taken him up on it yet just because I've been caught up. But I love Timothy. We follow each other. He's a great guy. And he's getting after it. He's traveling. I love the guy. Who's this? Paramountains. We're going to assume that you're a smoking hot lady. Thank you so much. It's the T-Rex shirt. Let's be real. Right? Look at him. Look at that. Look at him. How could you not like this shirt? I wore this to Egypt a few years ago, by the way. It's one of my favorites. And I was looking through my closet today, being like, what am I going to wear in my live stream? And all of a sudden, this shirt was smushed between others. I hadn't seen it in a long time. And I'm like, oh, that's the one. That's the one. All right, let's see here. What else we got? Oh, man, I've missed hundreds. I just did a huge scroll and just passed by like 5 dozen comments. Let's see here. Let's see. I want to find a good one here. All right. Jimmy, when are you going to Sage Wall? Place is mysterious. It's on my list. I was planning on going there this summer, and it's not too late, so maybe I'll do that. Because I got to see it with my own eyes. I'm on the fence about it. I think it could go either way. It could be totally natural. It could be man-made, or it could be a combination of both. It's Stephanie again. Yeah, it's the T-Rex shirt that adds to your attraction. Thanks, Stephanie. Message me on Instagram. I'm just kidding. Thanks, Stephanie. Ninja Bat 007. Hey, Jimmy, Bright Insight, your Facebook page, or is it hijacked? That is hijacked. I don't even, so I'm not on Facebook. I had an account a while ago and I don't know what happened to it. But I wasn't doing anything with it. And yeah, I don't know how to get that page removed. Facebook is such trash. But whoever's running that, people have sent this to me. I'm like, I don't even know what to do. Like, you can't just call Facebook. They don't, you know what I mean? Like, how do I go mass report it? People are pieces of shit. I swear to God. Like, who would go out of their way to do that? Hold on. Thank you. I appreciate that. More facts here. Yes, it is the T-Rex. It's funny. People, you're the second person to say it looked like an AK-47. That is the T-Rex. Let's see here. Came all the way to Jesus. Oh, the second time with General Lee. You have a lot of people praying for you. Thank you so much. Come all the way to Jesus, Jimmy. Brother, I will tell you, spirituality is the forefront of my life. Every single morning I wake up and say thank you. I am a believer. And so when people say come to Jesus, to me, I'm like, to me, it goes beyond that. It goes to the source of all creation. Like I said, the Most High, and I am a believer. Let's see here. Buster, not Smash, I got another one from you. Opening in the newly discovered chamber above the Grand Gallery would tell us the true purpose of the pyramids. Any chance they'll ever open it? Thank you for bringing this up. This ties into the pyramid, Scan Pyramid project where, oh my God, I need to make a video on this. What? half a dozen years ago already, they discovered that and they still haven't gone into it, which makes no sense. They could drill a hole in there. People say, well, that's going to destroy the pyramid. No, it won't. You could drill a 1-inch diameter hole straight into it and stick a camera and see what it looks like. The Great Pyramid has already been, they use tons of dynamite to blast their way into it. It'll cause no problems at all. So that might have to be another video because it's like, what the hell is the standstill on this? What's the holdup? They got a cavity in the pyramid that looks like a second grand gallery because it's right above it. It's the same length. It appears to be a second grand gallery. And they haven't even gone looking yet. That makes absolutely no sense. Thank you for bringing this to my attention because I had forgot about that for a little bit. That might be worthy of an investigation. Maybe I need to do a deep dive to see if any people in the archaeological communities in Egypt, the Ministry of Antiquities, are any of them associated with the World Economic Forum? Now I'm going to have to look. Let's see here, guys. Forgive me. I need some water. I'm getting a little parched from all the talking. Excuse me. Thank you. All right. Is that a bump stock, Jimmy? People think it's a gun. This is so funny. This is a T-Rex shirt. What's this say? Jimmy, projections beams coming from originating the Beauvais Island. Please take time to investigate. Thank you. Oh yeah, you're talking about. Are you talking about the anomaly off the coast of South Africa, west of South Africa? If that's what you're talking about, I know what you're talking about. And there's a lot of. I'm waiting for more information to come to light on that. If we're talking about the same thing, that's something I've been waiting for. The Most High. It is the divine. Like many different religions will say that there's multiple gods. Even take Christianity, when they talk about Jesus and then you talk about the Father. I'm talking about the Most High, the highest of high, whatever, the source of all creation, the source of God, God itself, whatever it is. The Most High is that. It's this source. I don't know how else to say it other than the source of all creation, wherever it came from. That. The birth of life in itself and everything that comes with it and before it and after it. I get that's the only way I would know how to explain it. Someone else said something about it. Who is the Most High? Just that. The creator, God itself, the creator, the whole universe, the absolute, whatever that is. That's the way I look at it. Let's see here. I'm going to wrap this up soon because I am getting parched and I can hear my dog outside the door. You probably can't hear it, but he's pacing. And I have the door shut because he'll come in here and interrupt. And I feel bad. So I'm going to go out there in a minute. But I can't believe how many comments I missed. I'm still scrolling. Oh my God. I've literally missed 200 comments. Thank you so much. Christ is King. God bless you. You are all loved and forgiven. I love you too. Let's see here. Yeah, my dog's, he's going crazy. Let me read these last couple super chats. Stop leaving me comments and super chats. I'm going to wrap this up. Jimmy, please don't ignore Rumble rants. Have you an old world order? Hold on a second here. I shouldn't be. Those should be, the Rumble comments should be showing up here. I'm reading everything through StreamYard, by the way. Let's see here. It doesn't show I missed everything. Oh, we do. Okay. J. Luhan, 44, $20, inspired by Phil Labonte. I love Phil. I was with him on Timcast. Made a Christian album. We need to make change in the culture we want to see. Album is Luhan, The Rise and Fall of Idols. Don't care to make money, just an alternative. Thank you so much for that comment. I love Phil. I met him. He's cool as hell. Data 12. I like more gaming technology, LiDAR and photograph used for in archaeology sites and virtual reality tour. It helps more than one way, only so far. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Phil Davis, for bringing this up. I had no idea that those Rumble comments weren't showing up on my feed on StreamYard. Thank you. Forrest said, Jimmy, have you heard about ancient dams in Euphrates drying up? Yes. Well, I might be thinking of something different. I know that the Euphrates and Tigris have been mismanaged in Iraq with creation of other dams and causing issues and electric issues. But as far as ancient dams drying up in the past, I'm thinking, okay, so now I understand what you're saying. Are you saying that they dried up in ancient times? Let me look into that and then come back to you. Let's see here. JD, I'm with you on a religion perspective. It's funny to me Christians want to deify a man who has said We are all sons of God. I'm with you. I'm with you. But I don't say that to take away from anything. Like when you say like it's funny to me, like I'm not making fun of Christians in any way. Like I believe in Christian values. I just think that Jesus was trying to tell us something that a lot of people haven't deciphered, which is that God is in all of us. You're not God, but you're a piece of it. And you're together. You are one. And that's when I talk about the Most High. That's who I am saying he was referring to, the Most High. When I use the word God, people think Christian God. Guys, Allah from Islam is the same exact thing as God. It's just a different word from different languages. That's it. And so I don't like to use the word God because people in other religions will think I'm talking Christianity. No, I'm talking about who, whatever it is. And it has nothing to do with religion. It has to do with what, I don't know how to say it, but I think I already did. Guys, I'm going to wrap this up here shortly. My dog's still pacing. Digital Ghost, have you ever read about or looked into the pre-Adamic world alluded in the Bible? Are you talking about, I don't know if you spelled that right, or the pre-Adamic? No, I don't, but I assume it means Atlantis. Thank you for that comment, Digital. Ricardo, Jimmy, do you think they'll ever open the sealed chambers at Angkor Wat in Cambodia? They will after I make a video on it, after I put them on blast too. Why on earth is there anything ancient that's sealed up and not available, not even to the public, but to the archaeological community to at least document and put on blast for us to see through our technology, i.e. cameras and live streams and other things? So yeah, it might be time to put them all on blast. I cannot begin to tell you how many comments I've missed. It breaks my heart. I'm scrolling right now. Forgive me, guys. I'm going to wrap this up in a second because I feel bad for my dog. He's number one. Random clicker. Have a theory that the pole shifts churned up mud and sand, completely burying civilizations no one ever heard of. I also think it is what created our deserts. Notice that we were all in the western coastlines. Yes, this is what I think. I think that's what you're looking at in the Sahara Desert. I think even the American Southwest in certain areas as an example. For example, there was, like if you look at the Great Salt Lake, guys, that was an inland ocean. The ocean went through the middle of America at one point in the distant past. People can argue hundreds of millions of years ago. I am more inclined to think it's more recent. For example, if you look at Baja California, going up between the Sierra Nevada mountains and California and the salt flats out there, I flew over this multiple times because I'm in Phoenix. So if I flew to LA or San Diego or anything like that, you see it. It's so obvious the ocean was there and far more recently than what we were led to believe. And I do think that involving pole shifts, I think that most ancient civilizations, when people are like, where are they? Where are they? I'm like, well, a few of them survived, such as the top of Machu Picchu and other places around the world. And I think that they're buried. And I wouldn't be surprised if something under the Sahara Desert is that. All right, let me read one last one. Ray Hugel said, perhaps the Nephilim built the pyramids and other structures. Guys, it's possible. It's not my first idea, but it is possible. I'm on the fence about it. But if they weren't giants as far as being 15 feet tall, it could be giants of mind. It could be lost in translation for advanced. Like you have primitive people around the world, and then you have a few advanced civilizations. Well, more than a few. Most of the world's advanced now, right? But like it could work just like that, and the meek inherited the earth. You know what I'm saying? Those who were hunters and gatherers and knew how to sustain were the ones that were capable. All right, guys, this is the last one. I can hear my dog whimpering, so I know I've waited too long. Phil Davis, one last time. Have you seen Old World Order? When can we get your take on it? I have not. I've heard a million things about New World Order, but I haven't heard anything about Old World Order. Is this a documentary? I'll check it out on YouTube. I'll Google it. All right, guys, I love you all so much. I wish I could have gone longer. My throat's parched. My dog is pacing inside, so I've gone far enough. I want to thank you all for your time. Hundreds of comments that I missed, but let me just say this. I'm on locals.com. The link, it's not in the description at this time. If you're on Rumble, you can hit locals, but if you're on my YouTube channel, there's a link for it in the upper right of my page. And at the end of every month, I do a live Q&A on locals, and there's only a few dozen people in there. It's such a small community, but my paid supporters can ask questions, leave comments, just like we are here. And because there's so few, every single one of them is read live. I go for an hour at the end of every single month. So in a few days, I'll have another one. And I'm not asking for your money to support me, but I'm just saying that like that's a way of having a guaranteed way of having my time and to answer questions and comments in real time. And it just breaks my heart. I just hate missing so many of them. Like it means the world to me that I have so many people who want to chat with me and ask for my thoughts on things and share their ideas. And not to mention, I just got a half a dozen of ideas of things to explore and look into that I wasn't aware of prior. So this is great. But yeah, so follow me on locals, guys. One last comment, because I saw the word AZ and I'm in Arizona. Night, Jimmy. I hope the heat doesn't get to you too much in Arizona. Grew up there and it was rough. I'm climatized, but I make do. All right, guys, I'm wrapping this up here. I love you very much. Follow me on locals. Follow me on x.com. Follow me on Lousy Instagram if you want. And stay tuned for another video in a couple weeks. Thank you guys all again. I had fun.